The human spirit is one of ability, courage, and perseverance. Our evolution is proof of our primal instinct to survive, regardless of our environment. And to survive is to adapt.
The hardest part about living with a disability, I think it's realizing how much of society is built without you in mind. It's like no one ever thought, what of these people? How can we make life easier for them? I am Martin Gondwe, born 38 years ago in Kasama district of Northern Province. I'm a person with a disability, a community leader, a disability self-rights activist, and I'm a business owner. Thank you and you're welcome to Nakonde.
The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. And people living with disabilities are arguably one of the most vulnerable members of today's society.
Living with a disability, especially in rural places of Africa, is challenging. I've been with a disability since birth. My parents, they tried their level best to see how best they can help me to come out of this disability, but it couldn't work out as expected. And thereafter, in our rural communities, accepting people like us, accepting people with disabilities, it's challenging. I personally can cite an example of myself. I've experienced before bullying, especially in education systems. Stigma and discrimination, both from the community and from some family members. It has been a rough, challenging way to come out and stand firmly and champion the disability. But eventually, you have to adapt, and that was what I did. I didn't see myself as a liability for too long. My family showed me that disability is not inability, and the limits only exist in your mind. But not everyone has that luxury. There are a lot of misconceptions and negative thoughts towards disability, especially in rural communities like ours here in Nakonde, Mchinga province of Zambia, due to a number of things, issues. Others, they are still perceiving disability as a witchcraft. Then others, they are still perceiving disability as, a curse from God. Others, they are still perceiving disability as maybe on the side of your parents, they did something wrong in the past decades. So there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of negative issues surrounding disability, especially in rural areas where we are coming from. And that, just to add on, that's what is now demeaning us, persons with disabilities, to participate effectively, to participate, effectively in community programs, not only community programs, even in government programs. There are very few who are being considered as, part of the community.
Martin is the founder of the Nakonde Forum for Persons with Disabilities.
So, realizing that we are not being involved, being taken into consideration to take part in various government issues. From there, the organization has been, we are in 15 wards of Nakonde district. The membership is going at 160, of which the majority are the women and the young girls, because these are the most vulnerable people in our society. We coordinate various disability activities within the province and do our best to inspire and look out for other people like us, because we realize that community is very important, especially in a society like ours. It was in 2020 when there was an outbreak of COVID-19. As you are aware, we are at the border, and Nakonde, our border between us and Tanzania, there, spoilers. People, they come in, they go out. Government decided to go on a lockdown for, that was 2 weeks or so. No one was coming out. Now, persons with disabilities, we were hit badly. And it was sad that we were not being considered by the government. We were not part and parcel of the emergency district response for COVID-19, where we were supposed to be part and parcel of that team, air out ourselves issues that they were affecting us by then during the outbreak of COVID.
Nakonde was one of the towns hit hard by the pandemic and repeatedly had to go into lockdown. The disabled community were at a higher risk, as majority of them had little or no knowledge about the virus or access to proper sanitation for their safety.
There was no alternative or inclusive method of sensitizing people with disabilities, even though Nakonde was the epicenter of the virus at the time. And that's just one of the numerous examples to show our reality as disabled people here in Nakonde.
Here in Nakonde, upon the inception of this organization, which is Nakonde Forum for Persons with Disabilities, it has inspired a lot of people. The collaboration in between the government offices and the organization itself, there is now an inclusive program. Whatever the government is doing, we are able now to be involved. Through the advocacy of the Nakonde Forum for Persons with Disabilities, 3/4 of the programs have now changed.
The mind is strong and resilient. It is able to believe whatever it is asked to believe. In this community, Martin and his group teach each other that the limitations of their bodies are not limitations of their minds. They teach each other to dream again because their dreams are achievable.
One has to be able to think outside the box to survive here, because almost no one is going to hire a disabled person to work for them. And so, starting the fish farm was a way for me to channel a passion of mine and financially empower myself and others. I started the business 2 years ago with encouragement from my friends and family. I had tried getting white-collar jobs, but like I said, it's hard for us. So I decided to be my own boss, and it is going on well so far. It was during the time of the COVID outbreak. Economically, financially, it was challenging because most of the business they were shut down. Then, as a person with a disability, it was very hard to survive during those days. That was the genesis of me thinking outside the box, that surely I need to start doing something seriously that is going to empower me economically, financially, then also create job opportunities and employment for the unemployed, especially the young people. We harvest the fish every 5 to 6 months. That's the growth cycle of most of them. And we sell fingerlings too. My fish farming business at the farm, it is going on well. From the harvest that I've done so far, I've decided to grow that business to at least to a medium level, of which I managed to acquire about 10 hectares of land in the neighboring district, where I intend now to expand the fish farming business. And in my plan, I have intentions and plans to ensure that about 20-15 young people can have something to do from the same farm.
Agriculture is a key driver of economic growth in rural Zambia. Majority of the populace engage in fishing, farming, and trading activities.
Yes, at my fish farm, I've managed to recruit about 4 people there who are managing to maintain my fish ponds on a daily basis. I have someone also who is managing the business, my fellow person with disability. It was one way of empowering him, one way also of him to learn on what I, the fellow person with disabilities, am able to do. Inspire him so as to ensure that many fellow persons with disabilities out there can emulate us, and moving forward, see to it that they are also involved in various entrepreneurial activities that our fellow able-bodied persons are doing. Running a forum for persons with disabilities, it is something which is in me, the passion that I have to see to it that the living standards and the inclusiveness of persons with disabilities in all aspects of life, it is achieved. And at the same time, learning a business, the fish farm, I usually divide my time. Every day I wake up around 04:30, start planning. Before going to do the forum activities, have to ensure that the people I've assigned to run the business at the farm are already there. Things that are needed are in place. Then, being a business owner, especially running a fish farming farm, as a person with disabilities, it is gratifying. Then I've seen that it has created financially independent, economically independent, especially for me as a person with disability. It has reduced stigma that I was maybe supposed to experience by maybe that time if I was not doing anything. It has reduced that. People, other people from the community, from the family, they are counting on me. My fellow persons with disabilities across the continent of Africa to emulate me, not to look down upon their disability. Or what they should know is that disability is not inability. They can move mountains, they can perform wonders just like an able-bodied person.
Disability is not the end of the world, but as a matter of fact, society becomes more disabled when it cannot cater to all of its members.
I want people to know that they can live normal lives despite their disabilities. And it all begins from the home. Parents with disabled children need to show their children that they belong and not treat them like liabilities. If our parents could realize that there is a lot of potential in us persons with disabilities, we will move the mountains. They will see how we persons with disabilities will be able to stand on our own and depend on our own. I will continue to advocate for more inclusivity for the disabled through the forum and other personal initiatives that I'm involved in. And I want to make members of the disabled community to know that there is nothing to be ashamed of, and that your disability is what makes room for your strength.